Hello, Magicasters of all shapes and sizes. My name is Chance. Welcome to my spellbook, and thank you so much for tuning into the 28th episode of our first level spell series. Today we're going to be taking a look at our first spell from the Acquisitions Incorporated book. Today we're going to be looking at Distort Value. Usable by the Bard, Sorcerer, Warlock, and Wizard, and found in, as aforementioned, the Acquisitions Incorporated book. If you don't have this one yet, you know what? I would honestly pick it up. Acquisitions Incorporated is actually what prompted me to get into D&D, followed up by Critical Role, of course, but I really did love the story behind Acquisitions Incorporated. If you haven't checked them out, I'd highly recommend it. That being said, let's take a brief look at the mechanics for the spell here. So your cast time is 1 minute. The range is a touch, and the object is up to 1 foot in size. The duration is 8 hours, and the effect at a glance is as followed. Double or half the value of an object 1 foot or less in size. A creature can find its true value through a successful investigation check versus your spell save DC. At higher levels, the maximum size of the object increases by 1 foot for each slot a level above first. The components are strictly verbal, and the school is illusion. Really cool stuff there. Let's take a look at the full description so we get a better idea of how this works. Do you need to squeeze a few more gold pieces out of a merchant as you try to sell that weird octopus statue liberated from the Chaos Temple? Do you need to downplay the worth of some magical assets when the tax collector stops by? Distort Value has you covered. You can cast this spell on an object no more than 1 foot on a side, doubling the object's perceived value by adding illusionary flourishes or polish to it, or reducing its perceived value by half with the help of illusionary scratches, dents, and other unsightly features. Anyone examining the object can ascertain its true value with a successful intelligence investigation check against your spell slave DC. At higher levels, when you cast a spell using a spell slot of 2nd level or higher, the maximum size of the object increases by 1 foot for each slot level above first. Wow, quite a wordy one. That being said, really cool, and it does really reflect the playstyle of a lot of the Acquisitions Incorporated characters. I'm sure you could easily see this imported into your own game, as a matter of fact. Speaking of, let's take a look at some interesting alternative uses. So naturally, the most common use would be to use this in a store. Now, there's 2 ways you can go about doing this. You can either attempt to increase the value of something you're selling, or if the store is large enough and the shopkeep isn't paying very close attention, you could actually use it to reduce the value of one of his items. I think that'd be quite interesting. Alternatively, if you live in a religious state and you are required to pay a certain percentage of your wealth as homage to whatever deity it is you worship, and you'd rather not do that, then this would be an interesting way to get out of it. I think one of the most interesting ways to use this, as underhanded as it may seem, would be to use it on your own party members. If you suffer from a party where everyone's constantly kind of getting a little bit crazy over magical items, and there's one in particular that you'd like, there's nothing really stopping you from texting your DM and being like, listen, I cast Distort Value to cut the item's value in half, and then your DM describes it as being worn down, scratched up, and dented, and then of course you go in and swoop. Eventually it turns out it was all just an illusion. I think that'd be pretty interesting. I mean, run it past your DM, see what he thinks, but I would allow it in one of my games for sure. Alright, that being said, guys, if you have any cool alternative uses for Distort Value, any stories about it, or any ways you'd like to see it used, please comment down below, and I really appreciate it, guys. I love reading them. Everyone else does as well. As always, have a great day, and happy casting.